welcome to On The Mic. My name is Mike Goldman. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Mike Goldman Live. Us? It's me. I'm the only person. Follow me.
Are you sure of your gender and all that sort of stuff? Maybe you are on us.
Mike Goldman Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. We go live at 3 o'clock on Sundays, so you can be part of the action. You can subscribe on iTunes and YouTube. Hey, I've got this film festival, the Sanctuary Cove International Film Festival, sanctuaryfilmfestival.com. I'd love you to have a look at it. I'd love you to come to the party. It's in late November, and if you want to enter your film, short film, if you know a director, producer, actor, anyone that wants to enter their film, give them this password and they get 50% off the entry fee. It is the Village Theatre, and you can enter at filmfreeway.com or all of the details at Sanctuary Film Festival.
What was that password again? One more time.
The Village Theatre. Pretty cool, hey?
Beautiful.
Something else rad that I'm doing is raising money for the Charlie Teo Foundation. Charlie Teo is one of the world's best neurosurgeons, and he started this organization for research and to also help people who have been affected by this horrible disease, to help them and their families get through it, get the operations, get the help that they need. So Mongol Rally Men on Instagram and Facebook if you want to see the crazy journey that I'm doing from London to Mongolia in a crappy 1-litre car, because that's one of the rules of the Mongol Rally. You have to drive a shit car to raise money for charity. Okay, my guest, 3 facts about him. He was a physiotherapist. Fact number 2, he is a best-selling author of books like Slippery. And what's the one that you got there? Sweet Dreams of Fanta, which I only just found out about. And the 3rd fact is he used to trade gold and oil. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Mr. Liam Carroll. Hey, mate. Good to see you. Oh, he's gay. Get the beers out. Today's show not brought to you by Russia's Silver Bullet. Is Russia's still around? Does that even exist?
Oh, I drink it. I don't mind
Cheers.
it. Yeah.
Oh, this is going to be a good show. Handing me the Russia's Pilsner, and you're into the VB, in the long necks.
And, you know what the
and a
what we're all
t-shirt.
about.
Man,
Oil,
he's
mini,
giving me
power,
free
women.
shit. So is this because you want me to go easy on you and say nice things?
You
I
don't
like,
go
give me a
easy
look.
on
Give me a look at
anyone.
this.
Yeah.
What is it? Oh, so this is your book. Tell everyone about this book.
That's Slippery, oil well. It's about a very troubled young man trying to make as much money in a seedy, seamy underworld.
It's non-fiction.
Flynn James. About
Non-fiction.
Flynn James. And he gets out of a bit of trouble. But he has a good time. And anyone who wants to know anything about anything, but especially Asia, commodities trading, aggressive drinking, reckless whoring, that sort of stuff, you know, they should get into it.
I did read the book, and one of the things I remember about it is you went to a business meeting and then realised an hour later that you're in a blowjob bar.
Well, it's a smoke bar, Operation Desert Storm, where you can be standing, but there's enough smoke in the room so that everything from kind of chest down is invisible but clear to hear. Very slurpy.
Are you serious? This podcast has started out in a very debaucherous way.
Any one of your listeners that has lived the expat life, or maybe their husband is living the expat life, they'll be very, they should read Slippery.
Should wives be worried about their husbands if they go and work in Asia? And
I'm looking forward to Trump and Ding Jinping or whatever having their North Korea America peace talks in Singapore, because there's nowhere more sketchy than Singapore.
So quite debaucherous, is it?
Well, it's going to be awesome.
So in your book, there's a big whore trade there, and there's is it 5 floors of whores or some?
Well, maybe there's 5 now. There were 4.
I haven't been. I'm just what I've read. Honest.
It's Orchard Towers.
Is that where a lot of the dodgy expats go? Because I got friends who are working over there, and I don't really. They say stories, but do they ring their wives and like, hey? But we don't want to get anyone in trouble.
Well, that's
But read the book. It's an eye opener.
You leave it to the book, and it's a fictional book, and nobody gets hurt.
How the hell did you become an oil trader? Well, you're a physiotherapist.
I wanted to make as much money as quickly as possible.
And did you?
And not really, but that is a place you could do it. And when there's big money involved in anything, it's just more fun. So
what kind of deals were you doing? How much?
Well, if you buy an oil tanker's worth of oil, it's probably anywhere from $20 to $60 million.
So you did a $60 million deal in a day?
Yeah, I mean, these things are coming and going. And where I worked was a trading shop where you just wanted to buy and sell things quickly. But, a lot of the times you need to take the risk on the books knowing that you've got a good sort of opinion of where price are going to go. So if you can buy something for 42 million and it's worth 50, you need to get the money together. But maybe you buy it for 42 and it ends up being worth 20.
Yourself doing those kind of deals? Because I can't decide what I'm going to have for lunch, let alone if I'm going to sell an oil tanker for 50 million or 60 million.
Well, I think
Does
getting back
money
to
even mean anything when you're doing that kind of
No, I
stuff?
think-
Do you think about the actual value of it?
well, the people, I'm Australians on the whole are no good at it. I was no good at it, but Poms, especially from Essex, it seems, are extremely good at this.
Why is that? They're like the guys that stand outside the $2 shop. And
well,
go,
they know it's a
hello,
game.
come in here right now. We've got everything you can buy. It's all got to go really quick.
They know it's a game. They know it's just
It's
make
just a
believe.
game. Don't even think about the cash.
Australians, for every sort of bad thing people say about Australians are very very heartfelt, and they care about what they do, and they care about who they hurt. And Poms on the whole don't. But not just but it's a good skill.
Wow, if there's any pommy people watching right
They
now,
know,
they're gonna
they
be like,
know.
who is this arsehole?
I love Poms. They know. The glorious thing about Poms is they know what ruthless cunts they are, and they don't shy away from it. And that's why they're great. That's why they're in every recruiting agency has the best. It's always the best recruiter. Pom, guaranteed.
You got burnt by a pom once, didn't you? So,
I just know poms.
Come
I
on,
love
who
them.
hurt you?
I
Who
love
hurt you,
them.
Liam Carroll? Tell us about it.
I
What's
love
the
the
story?
Poms.
You
Nothing,
do? You
no.
got a few pommy friends?
I admire their complete duplicitous, spineless, beautiful nature.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
you grew up in Balmain, which is hence what the other book, Not Slippery, is about. Sweet Dreams of
Sweet
Fanta.
Dreams of Fanta.
Balmain is a workers' area of Sydney, and it's where all the docks are. And you had a bit of a rough time being a young, fat, red-headed kid growing up on the streets
Wasn't
of
redheaded.
Sydney.
That's despicable. No, I have very, very fond memories of Balmain as it was.
Yeah.
In the 80s, I mean, we talk about multiculturalism. I mean, before houses cost $8 million for a one-bedroom unit, you could have every race in one suburb.
Yeah.
Now it's just a bunch of solicitors who don't have any kids, which is fine because it costs a fortune. But in the 80s, the whole sort of Labor Party started seems to have big Balmain backing the docks. You could go to the wog shop, you could, the Chinese laundromat. I mean, these weren't offensive things. This is how life was at the deli and the pizza shop. And also, but I mean, I have very fond memories of my childhood.
Yeah.
But looking at the reason I sort of wrote it was all this safe space crap and fat shaming and all this crap they carry on with. Like,
Yeah.
if I look at my childhood through a prism of 2018 view of the world, it's like I was just vilified, picked on, everything's unfair. But I remember just getting bullied in the playground for being fat and like a teacher laughing at me. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it helped me.
Why do you think it's a bad thing? What about some poor little kid's going to go home and people are committing suicide at a young age? How can you say something like that?
Well, I mean, suicide, you don't want to say anything bad about that. You don't even get involved in that. But that happens once, and the media now just jumps on that as if it happens to everyone.
Yeah.
Most likely, 99.9999% of cases, someone gets bullied and they go, after a while, they just go, well, fuck you, and they stand up for themselves.
Yeah.
They
Because I noticed that a lot of schools now are saying we have a zero tolerance to bullying.
Yeah, and then they get a
And
current affair to come in and bully the bully. So you get these old people going, oh, where's the bully? Let's find the bully. Let's expose the bully. It's like, that's the biggest bullying there is.
And he probably only said something like, oh, you've got a big nose.
Which
He's being a bully, and the teacher bullies the bully.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I got bullied a little bit at school.
it's human nature.
I
probably
saw
bullied. I
other
bullied
people
people.
being a bully, so
Yeah.
I wanted to step in and say, stop bullying that person. Kids have got to sort of have a little bit of that, I think, in their lives to be able to stand up for themselves in the real world. Otherwise, they're just going to be huddled in the corner in a crying mess when they actually go to a workplace and someone starts telling them what they have to do.
Well, and then the other thing, the genesis of this book was just fond memories of my parents never knew what I was doing. I mean, I was 7 years old. I'd go bike riding and BMXing and whatever, just around the neighbourhood.
You can't do that with kids anymore.
Well, again, it comes back to this social media storm. Like, so one kid goes missing, and every parent
They
thinks
think everyone's
in every
gonna go
suburb,
missing.
it's like, and you just look out the window, it's just echo. There's nothing happening, but because it's on your phone, you think phone is real, and that's, and then you got to worry about, like, parents. I mean, I'm not a parent yet, but they're so
you
worried
don't see
about their own
kids
image.
playing on the street as much anymore by themselves, do you?
And it just, like, I learned so much just running around doing my own thing.
Are we all paranoid?
Well, I'm sure there is some fucking kiddie fiddler somewhere who's going to do something bad, but it's not in every street, on every street corner, happening 24 hours a day. And what your child loses from not developing their own identity and doing, blowing up a letterbox or,
Did you ever do that?
I never did. I was too much of a pussy. But
I did.
I saw
Beacon Hill Football Club, Brendan Chapman, all those crazy fuckers. Like we snuck out after a football grand final. We had lit a bonfire, which we weren't supposed to do in that area, and decided to blow up the neighbour's letterbox with,
You're a legend.
with bungers and
I would
firecrackers
have
and
looked
stuff.
up to you. You would have been my hero.
We thought we were pretty cool.
You were.
Very, very dangerous. Don't recommend that out there if there's
But
any
when
kids
you were,
watching.
from an early age, the sort of near Leichhardt Oval too. Leichhardt Oval was a big part of this book. There was like a mental institute and you'd go playing footy around there, and proper nutcases would be around, and you just, you didn't just, they'd offer you a candy and go and get raped by them. It was just like, you go, oh, that person's dodgy, I'll just go
The
this way.
kids have to learn that people are dodgy.
But
rather than being shielded and protected, they say, that person's dodgy, and you just say, fuck away from them.
But kids' radars, like, people treat kids like they're complete morons.
Yeah.
And kids know far more than we do.
They're so much smarter. Like my little sister, she's 8.
Yeah,
and
genius.
she started up her own Instagram account. She just logged on through Dad's phone, started up her Instagram account, and she checks it regularly. And I said to my dad, I was like, Ellie's got an Instagram account. No, she hasn't. I go, dude, she's posting photos of herself, unless some weirdo next door is taking photos. And her mum was like, that's it, delete it. She's not allowed to do it. And she's on Dad's
Which I can
Instagram.
understand the mum's sort of angst about it.
Yeah.
But just in general, just how much they coddle kids now, I just think it's sick. Because kids are so smart.
Yeah.
And kids, especially with this, how they just see them like manipulate their iPads and stuff.
Because kids were born with that stuff. They're given an iPad as soon as they come out of the womb.
Yeah, it's frightening.
We just had books and a crappy colour television set. But now things are completely different.
And millennials get whinged about, like, they don't want to work and do all this stuff, but they've grown up on these Fantasyland stuff of thinking, because their whole life is on a screen. Like, the idea of a 20-year-old being able to work hard the same way that my granddad did is basically impossible, because they've grown up on Fanta, on dreams that they're all a princess or that they're all, Brad Pitt. And then you're going to make them just do data entry all day. And everyone's like, oh, when you're the millennials, it's like, work sucks, everything sucks. But the sooner you sort of get them used to how things work.
Yeah. But it's a different world for them, though. And that's why anxiety is becoming such a problem in our society, because they see so many people having these lives on Instagram and Facebook, which most of the time is not even real. It's someone just putting on this act so the other kids follow them. And I'd love to see kids follow people who are a little bit more intelligent, people who have something to offer society, rather than just some girl who's taking a good photo of herself in the right light.
I mean, that's always going to exist. Like, we've got Kim Kardashian, who became famous from sucking a big dick.
She did.
That's how she got famous. And she's a role model, an icon.
Paris Hilton as well.
They're just sucking dick.
But they're making hundreds of millions of dollars for, like, Calvin Klein and all these brands who are going, oh, okay, we're going to... So if you're going to after that, she got filmed having sex, and probably what she didn't know it was going to
One night in Paris on the mic. I mean,
sure, whatever. But I mean, later on in, she had this reality TV series, and,
which was fun.
It snowballed from there. But that initial, fame came from...
So
porn.
we have all this stuff about telling young men not to pick on women, which I just completely have no experience of seeing that. But at the same time, their heroes got famous from just being whores. And that's no one's fault. It's just how it works. And so you're going to try and convince a 15-year-old girl who's good looking to go and study engineering for 10 years to get on a board of BHP that they seem to want to make all these quotas for. Or just take some photos and, 90% of their followers are Pakistani wankers who are literally wanking to every photo.
Instagram needs some sort of an app where people can go, okay, that's their photos. Oh, this girl, she looks pretty. She's in bikinis and stuff like that. Has she got,
and I like girls in bikinis.
All followers, they look great. Yeah. But if her followers are 1.2 million, you should be able to push a button and go, okay, well, they're all dudes in India, China, Australia, US, and they're all just basically jacking off to their hot photos. And you can push a button and you can look at a girl and go, okay, it's a cross-section.
There's a couple in Bondi, apparently.
Men, we're overrun with them in Bondi.
No, the dude's waking up.
Oh, the dude's waking up. I mean, Instagram models. They're absolutely everywhere. I know, but good on them. It's started an industry. But what if Instagram ended tomorrow? Like, what would all those women do?
Else
all those promo models that are making all that money out there just from posting photos of themselves. I tell you what, the strip clubs do well.
Oh yeah,
they have a lot more.
All these hot chicks seem to love tea.
We're being mean. We're being a little bit
very
sexist.
Honest. No,
we're two blokes talking in a pub, so we do.
I want to clarify
apologize.
Sexist, racist, all these terms with the ist. I've just got an issue. It implies hatred. You can be observant and realize that maybe an Asian person is good at something or worse at something, or someone from anywhere. It doesn't mean you hate that race. It means there are noticeable differences in the human genome. And this race, anyone who says anything's racist, I just know that they're retarded and haven't thought about anything. And it's just such a lazy... And sexism is the same. It's just... It's sexist.
Do you ever get called racist?
All the time. I mean, Slippery is one of the most racist written books because it just points out the absurdity of Asia, the absurdity of poems we've gotten into.
I got called racist a few days ago.
I mean, I hate white men more than anyone. So, I mean, you know,
a friend of mine dropped their phone in the water. Yeah. And I said, oh, man, that's an easy fix. All you got to do is you just put it in a bowl of rice overnight. And when you're asleep, a whole bunch of Asian dudes come and fix it for you. It was a joke. Genius. Because I love Koreans. I love Chinese. I love Japanese.
But these fourth wave feminists or whatever, who are usually men anyway, just useless men, these fourth wave feminists. And they're trying to say that Winnie the Pooh is sexist or something. And
how is Winnie the fucking Pooh sexist?
This is like their lives are so privileged and they're so useless and they haven't thought about anything. And no one's ever said, that's fucking retarded, which I get told I'm retarded all the time. And I go, yeah, correct.
But even saying retarded, I mean, that's retarded. You can't say that.
Retardation of growth. You know, it's not retarded. But
retardation of growth of your brain.
Yeah.
And so that's not necessarily saying that you're putting shit on someone who has some sort of retardation.
I mean, I've been known to do that every now and then.
What can you say anymore that you won't offend someone about?
So they're picking on Winnie the Pooh. This is how so I'm assuming they are not poverty-stricken. They're living in some nice house with fast-speed internet, and all they're doing is picking on Winnie the Pooh as sexist. I mean, just get a life, you freaking useless.
So how they think Winnie the Pooh's sexist?
Well, I don't know. But the logic of these people, you cannot possibly follow it unless you've had a serious cerebral breakdown. I mean, they just off the planet. And these people are running like the human resources departments of big organizations. They're in politics. They have massive platforms through their Instagram crap. And they're sort of just cancer for the culture because nobody steps up to them. And if you step up to them, you're just racist, sexist, misogynist.
Yeah. Because the problem is they've set the bar so low for saying and doing anything like that. So many people are afraid to speak out.
Yeah. I mean, I'm
afraid to speak their mind.
I'm a cis man. And I was born with a very, very, very pathetic cock and balls. And I just accept it. I'm a man. Whoever created this planet, they gave it to me. And that just having that clarity of thought means you're privileged because people, they can't even deal with what their sex is.
Is male privilege a thing?
No, of course not. You know, the fact that there's all these men on boards and whatever and run companies is there are a lot of men psychopaths who want to do these stupid jobs. They're not for women. I mean, women.
But there's a lot of women out there that do these jobs as well,
and they're often horrible humans. You know
what? You can't just say that women are horrible humans if they're running a board.
The ones on those people.
Why do you think that? I don't think that, but I don't know them.
If you look into it,
from experience,
I don't want to name any names, but the qualities and characteristics you need to do that sort of job, is sort of similar with psychotic behavior because you need to be so driven to just make money and just screw everyone, sell bullshit products, work 100 hours a week, have no life. Those are the qualities, and women are far too smart to do that crap. They're like, no, I'd rather just hang out with my children or have a life.
Is that why we have the gender pay gap?
Well, I mean, again, there is no gender pay gap because women, on the whole, earn a lot more if they really want to. But they're too smart because money.
It's illegal to pay someone different.
It's illegal.
It's illegal.
Simple. Yeah. And when they sort of say they get paid less for the same job, you're like, okay, well, just name me an example because I was a physiotherapist. We got paid the same. Oil training's a bit different because maybe if I was really good, it's all based on bonuses and commissions and stuff.
I think they see the Hollywood stories and people getting headlines saying, Mark Wahlberg got $4 million for his movie and his co-star only got $2 million. It's because no one had a fucking idea who the co-star was.
Well, Jennifer Lawrence gets paid $52 million for a movie.
If I went and did it with her, I'd be lucky to get $52.
I wouldn't get anything.
Women are giving women probably
don't. This is going to sound very sexist.
Women probably don't get the opportunities that men get because if you're running, I think so. If you're running a big company and all of a sudden you've got this top job and you know that this girl's just got married and she's talking about wanting to have kids all the time, and a guy at the same level as her, he's not married, he's single, he's working just as hard, both just as intelligent as each other. Who's your boss going to promote? He or she will promote the guy. But I think that the way that we can stop that from happening is by the government forking out a bit more cash. So you don't see so black and white with those kind of people. So you would give money to that woman's man to stay at home and look after the kids. So she only has to have a few weeks off because she's having a kid, and she's got childcare and all these other things that support her. And the government needs to look at ways to be able to do that. So there isn't such a bias when choosing people for those top jobs.
I would say
is that the way around it? Because otherwise, are we just going to always have that?
Well, you can't fight the fact that men can't get pregnant. So women can get pregnant. And it takes a long time, and it's very, very painful. It's literally 18 months of their lives for each child that they've got to devote to this newborn. You can't change that.
But they don't have to do 18 months of their lives.
They don't have to.
They can still work.
But the stigma attached with a woman choosing to spend 5 years out of the workforce with her child, which is what is a
That's
beautiful
it, the
thing.
stigma. You said
And
it right
so
there.
she can't get back to work because you don't care about your job. You actually what you want to spend time with your children? What a fucking
You
freak!
have to change that stigma, though.
But that stigma often comes from men and women. It's like, oh, well, how the hell could she know about digital marketing? She hasn't done it for like 10 days. It's like I'm pretty sure if you have a chance, she'd pick it up pretty quickly. It's not that complicated.
Yeah.
Because you can't change the fact that it takes time to make a baby, and that's not
Only
man's
a couple of minutes
fault
for me.
Well, which is again the privilege of a man is childbirth looks horrible, but it's one of the most beautiful experiences a woman can have.
But I think things are changing in society where big businesses now, if they're looking at one guy and a girl in a position, and the girl, she's married and about to have a baby, and the guy, he's just a power-hungry worker, but they're both just as good as each other. They're starting to look at it less and less as, she might go off and have a baby, so we'll lose her. That they would, give her husband paid parental leave for the job that he has. And I think that things are changing in society in that way.
I mean, the ultimate thing is in any business you need to make money, and some women are just phenomenal at making money.
Yeah,
and it's just a gift that it has nothing to do with sex. They're just geniuses at just creating just money out of thin air, which is a skill that is so valuable.
In what way? What industry? What are you talking about?
Oh, well, definitely a lot of the sort of design-related things, just making things look a way that appeals to just the human subconscious somehow. Just being good talkers and comforting, but selling you something in the process.
Is it sex appeal?
It might be.
Are you sold easier by a woman if she's beautiful and intelligent?
That's the amazing thing that we're going to lose based on these Harvey Weinstein type issues, where some women are very smart at using their sexuality to their advantage, and because men are obviously morons that just see tits and they're going to do anything, 5 cougars, thanks.
Yeah.
And if no man is ever going to really, they're just going to be walking around with blinkers on because they're going to get done for sexual harassment for staring at someone or whatever these new rules are.
Yeah, you're not allowed to go up to a girl and say, "Hey, man, I just want to say you're extremely hot." Well, you can't in the workplace, but you can't even joke around saying that.
I mean, I would love to see some
sexual harassment.
I would love to see some statistics on how many married couples met through work. It would be mind-boggling.
It's probably going to happen a lot less now.
Well, it's just any sane man in a job shouldn't speak to a woman, shouldn't do anything to her, shouldn't even look at a woman in the workplace, because it's just been drummed into them that they're all rapists, they're all sexist pigs, everything they do is sexual harassment. And what sexual harassment means is so broad. It could be you farted. It's just a joke. And obviously that spectrum, everyone just goes, they're just pigs. There should be a very, very clear delineation between rape and saying to someone, oh, you look nice in that dress. I mean, these are not the same crime. These are not the same.
Yeah, they're kind of putting people on the same level, aren't they?
But, and again, it's going to sound sexist, but if you tell a woman she looks good in a dress, that's a beautiful, like, she's going to feel good.
Yeah.
Why do you think she bought these dresses? I mean, these things cost a fortune. But if that's going to be a crime, what do we, it's just ridiculous.
Going into work and saying, "Hey, hot stuff," and spanking her on the ass. I mean, that's
obviously those are the glory days.
But that's inappropriate. You can't do that.
But again, it comes back to
fair enough. But it's the casting couch is dead as well. I mean, that's a good thing because more talented people will actually get the jobs who deserve them.
Yeah.
But how many chicks would there be in Hollywood that go, "I know I deserve that job. I know I acted in the audition better than that woman, but that woman ended up sleeping with the producer." Yeah. But now that woman's turning around and saying that producer harassed me and made me sleep with him.
It's a minefield. But the other thing, like, how much do we want to coddle women like we coddle children? Like, women are strong, powerful individuals who can say, "Go fuck yourself. I'm not going to fuck you."
Stand up for yourself.
Stand up for yourself, or also be really, really clever with it and sort of woo the attention in
Use
it.
it.
Use it.
Use
Get
it
the
to
job.
your advantage.
Get the job, and then fucking run it. But then they're like, men are so powerful, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, maybe, but maybe you've put yourself in these weird situations because deep down you're going to get the job if you suck the cock. And it's like, but even just talking like this, you're just going to get accused of being a misogynist pig. But this is human nature. Men are drawn to beautiful women. A beautiful woman who can speak well is just, she's like a goddess, and she deserves to get paid a fortune because she's going to draw people into whatever business, whatever show, whatever it is. But then to turn around and say, Harvey Weinstein's a monster, and it's like, well, yes, he is. But
he is the most powerful man, or was the most powerful man in Hollywood.
That's a bad example.
Like, I was watching a interview the other day with some big Hollywood star, And he was talking about Harvey Weinstein, and he was just saying that, you know, when he was at the Cannes Film Festival, they'd play a competition where they walk along the side of the street and hear how many times someone says Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah.
And it would get up to 100 or something like that before they get to their hotel. Because he's the most powerful man, and he abused that power.
Exactly.
Which he shouldn't have done. And
but Kevin
as
Spacey's
far
the
as
same with
everyone's
men.
gone with the hashtag Me Too thing, and a lot of people say they haven't gone far enough in Australia, it can only be a good thing because it's going to stop all that shit from happening.
Linguistically, I don't like Me Too. There's a French one. I can't think of the French word for it, but it's called hashtag Report Your Pig. And so just
report the pig.
Just the language empowers the woman. It's like, Me Too. It's like, report your pig. This guy's fucked. Name and shame him. I've got evidence of him doing it. I'm not just making these outrageous claims. I'm just not sitting in the corner saying, Me Too, Me Too. It's like, report your pig. You know, this guy, this time, this is what he did.
But something to actually be a pig for, not just hashtag Me Too. He told
Me
me I
Too
was
is
hot
bad
and I didn't get
linguistically.
the job promotion or something like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're just hypothetically speaking here.
Yeah.
I mean, the shit that happens to women in all industries, and unfortunately, it's really only been written about a lot and talked about and reported on in people in the entertainment industry.
Well, I'm just waiting for pilots, for doctors.
Yeah,
There's
pilots,
every
doctors,
industry,
nurses. You know, people who work at the local 7-Eleven. I mean, we don't hear about that
Whatever
stuff
the
because
bar
it's
is down
not
the road.
newsworthy, and hopefully it helps those women be able to
I'm sure
stand
you've
up for
noticed this.
themselves.
I don't know if you've noticed it, but every cafe or bar I go to, it's like every girl in there is a supermodel. I'm sure there are some other girls that aren't supermodels that apply for that job. Are they?
You're saying they only apply hot chicks?
Well,
They
I
only
don't know.
hire hot chicks.
Unless all the hot chicks in the world want to be barmaids and baristas, maybe something's going on. But are we going to get our, arms up and scream about that, or just going to scream about Harvey Weinstein for another 5 years? And Donald Trump, grab him by the pussy or whatever. Do we only care about the big celebrities, or do we care actually about
the real
what's
stuff
going on?
Yeah.
And I don't want to stop hot chicks from being baristas, but that, it's a pretty strong correlation.
What do you think of Trump? You mentioned Trump before.
I love him.
You're on the Trump train.
I was speaking with someone yesterday about because I was definitely a bit more like not pro Hillary. I was feeling the burn in 2016.
Yeah, I like Bernie.
But I'm glad
Bernie
he's
just
not-
announced that he's running again at like 77,
he's
78.
too hot.
How are you going to be the president of the USA
Yeah.
being 78, 70, he's 80 years old by the
thing is-
time he's president? I can't get out of bed at 8 o'clock in the
No.
morning unless I've had 8 hours sleep.
But that's the same
How the
with
hell is
Trump.
that guy going to do it?
Trump and Hillary are in their 70s, and they're up at 5 in the morning, probably till midnight, giving speeches, tweeting, doing
What are
whatever.
they injecting themselves with?
Well, something. And
And do you think Hillary thinks that she's going to run again? I don't
Hillary-
think she thinks she's done anything wrong.
Hillary is the most self-centered, useless, corrupted piece of shit that anyone's ever seen. And the fact that people think it's sexist that Trump, not Hillary, got it. You could just pick any woman in America. She'd be better at that job than Hillary.
What happened to her is so embarrassing. She got beaten by Donald Trump. I mean, he's the biggest asshole on the planet. But I mean, sure, he's a good businessman. It's like I've had plenty of bosses that have run a business really well, but he's a dick. I mean, sure, he said some pretty fucked up shit, and he's arrogant. And I just think that she should just shut up and go away, and because she failed, but she can't.
She feels like that job is hers. She feels like, I mean, if you actually dig into Hillary Clinton and scratch the surface at all, she was a lawyer who has got, very clear audio of her cackling like a Satan worshipper when she got a convicted child rapist off his charge and convinced him how to beat a lie detector test. And she's cackling like a hyena. I mean, this is not, I mean,
It's not a nice person.
Women want to poster child for their womanhood, but it's like, you've got Angela Merkel, you've got Julia Gillard, you've got the French lady, Michelle Lagarde or something. She's in charge of the IMF, and she's really, really impressive French woman. But it's never enough. They still want more. You got Jacinda Ardern in New Zealand. She's amazing. She's going to have a baby while she's Prime Minister.
Penny Wong. You're a fan of Penny Wong. You love her.
I mean, these people exist, but we still want more. And people just hate Donald Trump because of his hair, because he tweets stuff, because he's hilarious.
Because he was on Celebrity Apprentice.
And they just don't really...
But one
They
thing
hate
I
him.
do like about Donald Trump is the fact that he's not a politician. He's come in there and said, I want to drain the swamp. As much as people say, oh, he's part of the swamp.
Yeah.
But he's someone who he will go in there and he'll tweet something from a meeting. So for the first time ever in history, we've got this direct link to the president where he just says shit. It just gets out there straight away.
That bus conversation, they just grab him by the pussy, man. It's amazing. If you were to get Hillary Clinton on a microphone, her conversations would be so reprehensible and so frightening about Saudi money, about Chinese donations, about whatever the hell she's going to do, like, baby she's going to eat for dinner or whatever. That woman who deleted all her emails after she was told to deliver them to the FBI, and no one cares.
Yeah, like that's
and no
that's
one
a jailable offence.
She's a woman. You're being sexist.
Isn't there something like 25,000 sealed indictments that Trump and the justice system in America have that they're going to release because they want to get everyone at the same time? Have you been following QAnon?
Do you
know about QAnon?
A little bit.
So QAnon is basically, apparently this person inside the White House has knowledge of a lot of the inner workings of the White House, what's going on with meetings, and they put it up on these untraceable message boards to say what's going on, and it's been proven time and time again that it's right. And even military analysts have said that these QAnon posts are legit, because stuff is coming out on QAnon and then all of a sudden Donald Trump will talk about it, or it comes out in a press conference. So it's definitely can be seen as a rabbit warren to go down looking at all the QAnon stuff, but it's mind-blowing what's happening. One theory I heard the other day about QAnon is that when Donald Trump declared that, all these lobbyists and there's criminal people involved in the government, and there's the child trafficking and human trafficking thing going on, he declared a state of emergency, and that changed the level of government. So before it was all run by, not run by the CIA, but the highest level of intelligence allowed to receive was military intelligence was the CIA. But now, it's because it's a state of emergency, military goes above that. And there's like a secret group that this QAnon knows about as well, that is getting all these sealed indictments ready just to absolutely put everyone in prison. And that's the only reason why I can see that Hillary Clinton isn't in prison after all the fucked up shit that she's done.
Yeah. I mean, getting back to Trump, what I do love about him, people can hate him if they want, and people can say he's a liar, people can say he's misogynist, all these things, but he is the most honest in terms, like, he obviously lies all the time about his own amazing self-worth and all the cool things he does, but he just tweets about it 50 times a day.
Yeah.
So we've got these like useless people like Turnbull who just never speak the truth about anything.
Yeah, just give us a yes or a no, or just tell us the truth straight down the line, what is going on. Stop beating around the bush. Like it's so annoying.
You get climate change Turnbull from 10 years ago, you get him today, and he just says the polar opposite with a straight face, and he's obviously like a quite good-looking, gregarious guy.
I mean, he used to run Goldman Sachs and do deals with Hillary Clinton and pay her for speaking tours. I mean, no one talks about this. It's just like, oh no, he's a good businessman. I mean, just recently, the Daily Telegraph found out that he was short-selling the Australian retail industry. Like his actual investment, making investments in the Australian retail industry, losing money. I mean, this is someone who's supposed to be the spokesperson for Australia and helping the Australian economy. So that means that it wouldn't be in his best interest to go and help the retail industry or fund them. Like, I can't believe that. That was a great story. It's Shari Markson from Daily Telegraph, who we've got an interview with her, which you should definitely watch. She's an incredible, amazing, intelligent young woman who's the political editor of the Daily Telegraph, and more young girls should follow her instead of chicks that are really good at taking selfies.
I mean, talk about like a sort of pioneer of just a cool chick. She breaks heaps of stories, and she stands on her 2 feet with conviction, and has a crack in like some of the most trying circumstances where she's told that she's wrong not to do it, like the whole Barnaby Joyce thing, which became the biggest story ever. And
she copped a lot of shit about the Barnaby Joyce thing.
But that's someone who is just standing on 2 feet, and that's what most women do in the world. And she's amazing. She's worth like just watching closely because she has cool stories.
She's got some great stories.
But she treats herself just like a human being.
Yeah, she's down to earth. She's level-headed as well. She's not arrogant. Like, talking to someone like me who isn't studying politics 24/7. I mean, she's explains things, and she's not like, oh, you don't know.
She can do like a lay explanation very well.
Down to earth. And it comes from her mum and her dad. They're great people who have brought her up really well. Who I've known since I was a kid. But she's definitely someone that you should follow. And she's someone who, I think it was Kevin Rudd called her the dynamite up the government's ass, because if she finds a story, she jumps on it. Because I mean,
good on her. She doesn't wait to be told by some man what she can and can't do. I mean, and that's awesome.
That story about Barnaby Joyce, where a lot of news organisations wouldn't have run it. It was him buffing his secretary, who he thought it was his baby she was pregnant with, but it turns out it was someone else's, or now it apparently is again.
Yeah.
And this is from a guy who has no empathy for people. You know, he wanted to stop a cancer drug from being allowed to be on the market because it might make women randy.
The 3 words you're looking for are a piece of shit.
Just a wank
And
against marriage
he's
equality.
a retail politician. What does that mean?
And then all of a sudden it's okay for him to destroy the family values by buffing his secretary.
Yeah.
And we had to show him empathy when he wouldn't show it to anyone else.
Nice.
Anyway, I don't want to talk about that wanker, but that's a good episode to watch with the amazing Shari Markson. Take a look at that. But
getting back to so not Shari Markson, but the Australian media and the US media, just with their head up their ass, who don't have any contact with real people. So the fact that Trump, I sort of became, what clued me into Trump was going to win was on Instagram, on that page that sort of suggests things for you.
Yeah.
There were just all these hot chicks with MAGA hats, Trump hats on. And I clicked on the page. It was,
Make America Great Again.
It was MILFs for Trump. It was all these like crazy hot
MILFs
chicks.
for Trump.
MILFs. And I was like, this guy's a superstar. This guy's a phenomenon. And
his rallies are huge.
But all these people in LA or in New York who have their head up their ass, who are in the media or in entertainment, who are just filthy lefties from 30 years ago. They don't even know what left means anymore. They just know they hate Trump.
They don't realise that they're in the minority now.
They're in the minority.
They think that they're in the majority, but they're actually in the minority.
They're in the majority of what we hear in the media, which is just an echo chamber of, poor people are really noble. Everyone, white men have fucked everything up. But the reality is there are no jobs. All the jobs are in China or whatever. There's all these illegal immigrants from Mexico, 30 million, taking all the jobs and forcing wages
in
down.
Places like LA, where there's these elite rich people saying, we've got to let as many Mexicans in as we can because they're all their gardeners. They're all the people that are taking those low end jobs. And that's why the homeless problem is so fucked in America because, if you're an out of work actor, all you can do is, drive Uber. You can't be a gardener because, all of the illegal immigrants are doing that and they're getting paid cash and you're not going to work for like $3 or $4 an hour. So it's definitely a problem there. And California now, just I was reading the other day, has more people moving out of California than actually moving there because it's got so many problems.
But Americans too, like I've been there a couple of times and Americans are the nicest people on the planet. They yell out, they go, "Oh, you should go here. You stay at mine if you want."
So friendly,
and they get this reputation from being like, "Yeah, where's my iPod?" Like they go to Europe or something, and they got this horrible reputation. But you go to America, they're the nicest people on the planet, and
but they don't travel a lot. Though.
They don't travel well.
Like I was talking to one the other day, and he was saying, "I say you should go to Paris. It's amazing." Why do we need to go to Paris? I can just go to Vegas and see the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah. I mean, I respect that logic. But it's pretty stupid.
America's an awesome place, and I'm going to be going to the US in the next couple of weeks, and I've got a whole stack of interviews that I'm going to be doing there in New York and LA coming soon on the mic.
And any slippery readers, you should go to Las Vegas and relive the slippery adventures.
So you've written these amazing books, Sweet
Thank
Dreams
you,
of Fanta.
They were quite dubious claims of best-selling.
Because you're a Fanta pants.
Big Fanta fans.
Or for people in America don't know what Fanta is Fanta American?
Oh,
yeah. Just Australian?
Big time American.
I thought it was just Australian.
It was invented in Nazi Germany, which is,
What?
Yeah.
Also, Slippery, which is the story of, not you, maybe, an oil trader living in Asia and all of the crazy, dodgy dealings that happen over there. Great book, highly recommend it. How do you write a book? How do you have the commitment to sit down hours on end and pour out an incredible story? I take my hat off to you.
You got to be an idiot. You got to be crazy.
Yeah, really?
It
must take so much time and effort.
Well, so Slippery, the first part that was written was the Mexico surf trip, which is sort of towards the second half of the book. But
so you were on a Mexican surf trip when you started writing it?
No, it was about a Mexican surf trip, but I was actually in Indonesia on a surf trip.
Oh, but you thought let's choose Mexico as the place to write.
Well, but this is the inspiration for a book can come from anywhere. And so I woke up about dawn on this sort of sketchy bus ride, and I saw this just this big cactus in the rising sun, and it was just the shadow it was casting went for hundreds of meters on the desert and looked like a giant cowboy with two sort of guns up. And that image, that's the first thing I started writing about. And then basically a book would be 80,000 to 120,000 words. So I'd written maybe 10,000 just words, little stories. That Geneva simulation interview in the book was something I wrote quite early on. And then once you've got enough pieces together, if you've got 20,000 words, 30,000 words, then you just got to keep going. And anyone who wants to write a book, whenever they get inspiration, they should just sit down for 8 hours. Like if it's 1 a.m. or if they're at work, just if there's something that sort of overcomes them, because you can spend 6 months looking out a window doing nothing, or you can spend 3 days and you basically write a whole book in 3 days. Maybe not 3 days, but anyone who's trying to write something and feels like there's a good story in there somewhere, just when the moment of inspiration, because it might take 10 years of just little spurts, but just get it, save it, keep it on a USB somewhere, and you can sort of link it all up once it's done.
Link it all up and put it into a story.
Well, you could have lots of little fragments that come to you, and obviously your brain's trying to tell you something. Like you're trying to express something that's in you somehow, somewhere, and it's going to find its own way to link up. But if you just set out to write, I'm just going to write a empowering story about blah, blah, it's like, it's going to be shit. You need to just write whatever you want to write. You know, it's the same with songwriters or painters or whatever. If they try and tailor it to the audience from the get-go, it's already shit.
Just write about what you're interested in.
Whatever inspired you.
The story that inspires you.
Like I was just down, before I got here, down at Bondi Beach, I saw a bunch of morons doing like big lunges, like a group, training. They're probably gay men, very fit. No straight man could be that fit, but it was just an image.
Is that just what you tell chicks because you're not that fit?
Exactly.
You wanker.
No, we're going to get to the point in time where it's like, oh, that guy can bench press 400 kilos. He's so gay. It's the gayest man I know. Because no straight man could do it.
Just because a guy's better than you doesn't mean that he's gay.
Unless he's an international
he's just got different
athlete.
Traits that are better than you.
There is no man over 30.
You have no filter, do you?
I hope not. Well, I don't want to get sued. But
what you think. That's what we love about you.
Good. But anyone who wants to write anything, because I think writing is the most pure, because it's just words on a page.
Yeah.
And if you can get someone to feel, to cry, to laugh from words on a page, that's a real skill. Because movie making and songs, there's so many tricks happening.
Yeah. Sounds.
Oh, you can watch a movie that has the sounds.
Actors that do amazing things.
Yeah. I mean, if you're mates with, I'm trying to write screenplays now, but if you just go to screenplay school and you said, "Oh, I'm just mates with Heath Ledger," it's like, just say this. You won an Oscar. That guy's amazing.
I read one that you wrote. I don't know how long ago you wrote it. Probably just recently, and it was only like 12, 13 pages or something like that. Yeah. But I've never read like a short story that it has made me cry that I thought was so amazing. How's it feel when people tell you that? Because I'm not the first person that said that to you.
The reason I was drawn to writing anyway was, there's just this sort of global subconscious that exists within all of us. And when you can communicate on a page with someone, like I'm seeing you now, but you could have been in Peru reading that. And we've got this connection forever. And one of the first books I wrote that really sort of got into my skin was that Angela's Ashes, Frankie McCourt, Irish. And I remember so distinct, like they're just POV Irish battlers. I think it's maybe in the 50s or maybe earlier. But there's this line talking about some guy who's a real cheapskate, and the expression is, that guy wouldn't give you the steam off his piss. And I just remember thinking, that's just the coolest expression. I'll never forget it. And it was just, how mean can you be?
Wow.
But that book was written a long time ago. That book will live for eternity. And books have this power. And movies sort of do, but movies age really badly on the whole. Comedy ages horribly. Songs are pretty eternal, but books especially, a good book, can hopefully live forever.
So that one that I read, the 12 pages about the old dude, his wife died and he's taking the ashes to the beach.
Yeah.
Is that something you're going to release just as a short story online, or is that something people can read, or
not yet?
What's
not
the
yet.
plan there?
Because
you've got a few screenplays in the works. I know that you'd like to make Slippery into a movie.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've tried about 12 different screenplay ideas for that book, and I don't think any of them really capture it properly. But that one, The Sweet Goodbye, I can just see that as an all-time Australian movie.
Yeah.
It's trying to work on a screenplay at the moment, but I've got this image.
Roy Billing, he'd be great to play the old dude.
Roy Billing,
yeah,
love you, Roy Billing. But I'm trying to work
in an earlier interview on the mic. You can listen to Roy. Another plug for my show. Yeah,
but
Roy's
because movies are so
him.
hard to get happening, I can see a sort of almost children's type picture book where it's very poetic. Like, there's not many words, so maybe 3,000 words or something, like a Dr. Seuss, and with a lot of drawings to sort of pan that whole story out, because it's a visual story and it's a love story about old cobbers who are, like, one of the saddest things about Australia now is the coolest generation by far grew up in the Depression in the 1930s, and they're just so adorable, and it's just, time's catching up with them. They're all 100 years old now. They're going to die. But these are the sort of people who walked 10 kilometres back and forth from work barefoot, a big celebration was having a 4 and 20 pie for your birthday. Grew up like went through world wars, had their baby boomer children, never asked for anything, never asked for a favour from anyone, and they're just so adorable. And I think people want to see them on the screen. I mean, old people are you just want to hug them, and they've got so many stories to tell, and they're just this forgotten. We just look at 16-year-olds and Justin Bieber and whatnot who have done nothing. Well, maybe not Bieber, he's awesome, but old people.
Don't you pay out on the Bieber?
No, I do love the Bieber.
Are you not a believer?
Massive believer. But old people, I think, have so much to offer, and that's what I'm trying to explore with this, and make a book that a grandparent and a grandchild could sort of bond over. And I don't really know how to do it, but it's in the works. The story's there.
That sounds really cool. Good luck with that, man. That's really good. I think we've covered everything today. Is there anything else we need to talk about?
I mean, the beer's almost out.
Let's take a caller. Hello, on the mic. You're on the air.
Oh, g'day, Mike. Just want to say you're doing a great show. Slippery, love the book. And Liam, you're an amazing writer.
Okay, thank you very much. It's really nice of you to call.
Full agreement with that caller. I think I fucked her.
Why do you mean?
No, I just recognise that voice.
Oh, yeah, no, it was me.
On the mic.
No, you're right. Liam Carroll, writer of Slippery and Sweet Dreams of Fanta. Thank you for being on the mic.
Pleasure.
And if you enjoyed the show, please subscribe. YouTube, like us on Facebook. We're live every Sunday at 3 p.m. And you can even subscribe on iTunes or listen on TuneIn Radio and patreon.com/on the mic. We would absolutely love you to chip in to help make this show. You get all sorts of extra content, like this extra content, which we're going to do now for the people who subscribed on Patreon. Thank you for watching.